All right, Coach, kind of walk me through practice today. Obviously, a little bit more physicality on the offensive front today. How are you feeling about the O-line today?
It was good. They competed well. They compete, because in practice, a good practice is when the team goes up and down. And there wasn't a lot of bus assignments. It was just, we would do well in one thing and good effort on both sides. And then they would get us and they'd make a play and we got to bounce back. So it sounded like a college practice. I loved the effort. I love them communicating, trying to solve problems. And when you have a team that plays an offensive line that plays hard, and not only just solving problems, but they're solution based. So then they're communicating. I said, I like it. I said, you're over communicating. You're trying to come up with solutions while still maintaining their speed, which I love.
How have you been coaching to kind of keep the emotions in check? With competitive practices come some of those scrums and some of those moments with the defensive line, but how has that been able to actually just fuel them and get them better?
Well, it's a teaching for them. You got to hold them to standards. The thing that they can control is just how hard they go and what's their attitude. They come out, excuse my language, they come out half-assed, and I'm gonna jump their ass. If they come out with some good attitude and they make a mistake here and there technique-wise, that's football. So in the scrum's going to happen. If you have two competitive alphas going at it, something's going to give, someone's going to snap. Let's teach them. It's you teach them and you keep them safe and you get them out of it. And in real life, you can't do that in real life. Yeah, you're on the football field, but it's habits. And so you just keep teaching. You just teaching why, and you have your standards. So I love it, man. You're supposed to get into it. Coach's supposed to get into it with each other, and that's what football is. But that's what a close team leaves it on the field, and they laugh about it afterwards, and they get better and learn. You can't grow without any conflict. You got to have some good, healthy conflict and disagreements, and that's how you grow and learn.
How do you think they bounce back today versus the beginning of the week where, you're a vocal coach, but you got a little bit more vocal this week? How would you say their response was? Obviously, you said it was a good practice, but overall? Yeah,
really, they responded better. Earlier this week, there were some things that we were on top, and then when things weren't going our way, we really didn't continue our effort. We just kind of feel sorry for ourselves a little bit, not a lot, but the standards are high. So I thought today they did a really good job of responding to some of the negative things and that was happening at practice, and defensive guideline making plays, and us blowing a tough assignment, which it's going to happen in spring ball, and guys are starting to work with each other. So.
There's obviously a lot of combinations with you guys switching positions, and even in individual drills where you guys are using 3 different guys at a time. But how are you starting to see the meshing of the players develop, and ultimately how is it benefiting you guys?
I think as a group, like you see them, like we have them in really 3 different groups per day. But then if you get comfortable playing with one particular guy and then something happens to that one guy, you're like, oh, what the hell's, so that's why we do it. We just, you're not just a right tackle. You got to be able to play left tackle. Very rarely the guys go guard and tackle, and we have some kids that can do it. Kate Briggs can do all 5, and Kyle Scott can do guard tackle. So you have some of those kids that can handle it. But for the most part, they're just switching sides and then switching who they're working with. So I think as a whole, they're getting better working with each other, and there's some combinations that need to continue to work with each other in the next 3 practices that we have.
Gotcha. And then I kind of spoke to Emmett about it earlier, but how do you starting to see the relationships develop between kind of the running back room and the offensive line group? But also, I think one of the ones that's not talked about enough is the tight ends in the offensive line group, and how you and Coach Mon's been working in conjunction.
Yeah.
How are those relationships outside the offensive line bubble kind of going?
Yeah, they're the next closest thing to us, and they got a lot of responsibility. So the fact that they come in and they take their time and try to learn and better their craft and what we do, and they have to do everything we do and then go run routes. We just have to do what we do, and so we understand that they got a lot of things to do, and we appreciate them coming over. But just them talking to each other, we took both groups together out bowling a couple weeks ago, just things like that, to where they're interacting with each other. Because again, if I'm the left tackle and I'm going to work with the tight end, I got to know what he sounds like, what he feels like. I got to know everything about the tight ends, because when we work with each other, I can feed and feel off of each other. And then when we're trying to come up with solutions, we can talk and then easily talk to each other. The first word shouldn't be, what happened, and making a football call.